Hi everyone, and welcome to another special episode of Inside City Government, your best source of information for all of the programs and departments taking place in the city government of Montgomery, Alabama. We're joining you today from the Armory right there on Madison Avenue, and with us is our special guest, Missy Anderson, the head of the Armory Gymnastics Program. Welcome to Inside City Government.
Thank you.
Missy, the first question we ask all of our guests is how many people work under you, and also what is your program's budget size, I guess?
We have approximately 30 employees here that are under me that teach gymnastics. We run about 900 to 1,000 students per week in classes here, plus the competitive team, about 150 of those, whether it's gymnastics or cheer. The budget is a combination of, we're under the Parks and Rec division, and I'm not sure what their total budget is, but we are allocated a certain amount of that where they help us fund anything we need equipment-wise or staff-wise or front office or administrative in that form or fashion. And then we also have a competitive booster club that helps fundraise for any special needs the competitive team might have, or us as the building as a whole. They also help raise funds for anything we might need within the building.
So it's a combination of taxpayer dollars, of the booster club, and do the gymnasts themselves pay an enrollment fee for the program at all? Or
yes.
How much does it cost to be a member of the gymnast program?
Well, classes are $45 a month, and that is 2 days a week, an hour class. So you get, what, 8 classes a month at $45, and it's still one of the best buys out there. Most places you pay.
That is dirt cheap.
Right.
I was surprised you were going to tell me a number that low.
No, and we want to make sure that we offer an availability for all the economic levels out there. We want to provide the community with the best quality program without it being exceeding everyone's income to where it's available to a lot more people.
So it's partly public service,
right.
I guess, for sure.
Right.
You mentioned how many gymnasts do you have here involved, taking different levels of classes?
We run approximately 900 to 1,000 per week. Of course, we're coming out of an Olympic year, so everyone wants to be a part, especially if the U.S. wins.
Sure.
So we this week we're pushing, filling up almost every afternoon class. We still have some available slots, and then about 150 competitive team members in gymnastics and cheer. So that puts us well over 1,000 per week.
What's the age range? Do you have toddlers who are here practicing gymnastics, and also do you have geezers like me who might have watched the Olympics and decided there's a gymnast inside of me and I want to start out on the high bar or something like that?
Right. Well, I would suggest to you to start in the adult class. We do have an adult class 2 days a week at 12:30. They do a little bit of tumbling and a lot of conditioning, which the older we get, more of us need.
Right.
We have 2-year-olds. 2-year-old students are the youngest that you can do, and the oldest competitor we have in here is 18. That is still competing gymnastics, and but I will notice that when the Olympics come on, like you were saying, most of my ex-gymnasts or my staff members all get in here the next day and they all decide they're going to try things they've not tried in a long time, or they want a spot to learn something new. So it affects everyone, but it affects us in a positive way.
So as an adult who doesn't have any gymnastics background, you can teach me some tumbling, but you're not going to take me on the parallel bars?
No, I'm going to suggest that you make sure you're fit enough to get on there, but that doesn't mean you can't ever.
Right.
You just want to make sure that you start in the right place.
And what can a 2-year-old do?
Usually preschool gymnastics is all about agility and learning coordination, eye-hand coordination, and every student, no matter what sport they choose later, I have found out, I've been teaching 26 years now, anything that they choose to do, taking gymnastics that early has made them a lot more body aware, and they know their body better, and their fear factor's not as big at trying new things. But so whatever they choose later, it really just helps them physically and mentally do the correct things.
And at what age are gymnasts on the uneven parallel bars or the balance beam?
Those children are as young as 3, 4. years old. The 2-year-old class has a bar, but it's a 2-year-old bar. It's made for people their size and age. And some of these girls are as young as 5 years old. They can compete at the age of 5.
Sure. Well, you mentioned that you have a 150-member competitive team.
Boys and girls.
Are there different levels of competition, or how do you segregate them so that I'm not constantly beating up on folks who are beneath my skill level, or consequently conversely losing to people who are much better than me?
Right. The first competitive level is level 2, and they come in and we evaluate class children, or someone might have moved in the military and done it somewhere else, but we safely evaluate them and we choose the place for them to be number 1, safe, but number 2 is progress correctly. We don't want them to bite off, like you said, more than they can chew. We want them to be, but I do have younger students that are with older students, but they have the right physical ability and they've already mastered those skills. We're governed under the United States Gymnastics Federation, so they send us level requirements at what they need at each level, and we use those guidelines and they help us teach our teachers. USA Gymnastics is a very good support system for us, and we help train our teachers to recognize these things and to proper placement for each child. We keep them at that level. There is a required score and things that you have to move to the next level. So they help, the governing body helps us set that up, and then we just make sure we're consistent, and I apply that to everyone, you know, in our gym. We apply it to everyone, and when they have the required skills, or we feel like they're safe enough to do that, then we can move them up accordingly, and we've had great success with this.
I was about to ask you, tell me about some of the best accomplishments of any of the Armory gymnasts over the history of the program.
I've only been here 6 years, but gymnastics world is small. We compete, you know, if you start a level, you kind of compete against the same children in the state or region or national. You all kind of grow up and come through the system together. Like the girls you saw at the Olympics, even though they weren't from the same club, they watched each other grow up within the competitive program. At the Armory, they have had, we have a team state championship last year that we won since I was here, and we have individuals that have won. We have had regional qualifiers, we've had national qualifiers, and we have had collegiate gymnasts come from here to SEC schools. So
sure. And earn scholarships, or just they're able? Wow.
And me personally, I've had some that either earned at my past employment. I've had children that also, if they don't, if you have a certain school that you would like to go to collegiately, but it's due to what type of study you have, they might not have a spot available, you know, on that, but you're also welcome to walk on and earn a slot. So that's always an option that you have as a collegiate gymnast. You might go in and earn a walk-on slot just like you do any of the other sports, and then there's an opportunity when a scholarship opens for you to take.
I got you. How dangerous is the sport of gymnastics?
Well, like all sports, it has its risks.
Yes,
risk. Sure. I'm sorry. It has its
really
natural risk.
What do you do to minimize the risks so that my child or me, I don't break my arm?
Right. Well, as you can see, all around us, we're covered in mats and blocks, and you see we're sitting on blocks.
Right.
All the equipment is safety. We do a regular check. Everything has mats around it or surrounding it, and if it's things that they're learning for the first time, as you can see, we have coaches that are either observing or spotting the children on anything new that they might be learning. And of course, the younger the age, the more teachers, and we run a 6-to-1 ratio in our classes and an 8-to-1 ratio in the recreational classes. So and everyone here goes through particular safety training when they're hired.
Sure. Physically, how demanding is gymnastics? I mean, I guess it takes strength for sure,
it's a big
flexibility.
Right, it's a big deal. Most children are either flexible or strong. I was telling you this earlier. Children that have a natural flexibility, that is their advantage, and we have to build up their strength. Children that have strength but don't have flexibility spend a lot of time in the splits, and we have to develop that end of it. But it takes a very versatile type physical child bars. It looks easy on TV.
Sure.
But one of the funnest things I do is when I have a first-time parents meeting, show the parents what it's like to stand on that beam on that 4-inch, and before they ask their children to be so demanding of them,
That's an excellent idea.
Respect what it is they're actually doing, because it looks one way, but when you climb up there, it's really something different, you know. And some children don't blink an eye about it, but some children do. And on bars, it takes a lot of strength to hold those legs up. It takes a lot of strength to cast handstand or chin up. So we just tried to develop whatever physical attributes they have to the best of their ability and try to do it safely.
Sure. And I know it doesn't happen often, but what are some of the injuries that gymnasts do suffer? Is it rotator cuff?
Sprains.
Sprains.
And bruises. Usually sprains and bruises. That's from a lot of landings. You know, most of the time, I will say in my career, as my experience is, it's usually something easy, never something hard, because they relax a little bit on something they already think they have. You know, they might do this really hard skill and then walk off and roll their ankle, or they might. So I would say a lot of sprains, joints, because you do a lot of pounding, a lot of landings required.
World-class gymnasts, are they born, they've got the gift genetically, or are they made? They just have been exposed to proper, great training, and that's what's allowed them to be molded into the great gymnasts that they've become?
I think a little of both. I think most of your greatest ones have a good bit of natural ability, but at the same time, someone can have great natural ability but not be in the right place with the right coach or right training or the right parental support or gym. But I believe anyone can develop what they need to develop if that's their long-term goal, depending on their age and whatever that long-term goal is.
And at what age are you able to separate the blue chip talent from us mere mortals?
At what age? Well, some of them don't start till later, and it doesn't mean that that's not an opportunity for them, but like any sport, the earlier you do it and the longer you do it, of course your percentage is higher because you've trained longer. Sure.
But I mean, when the toddlers first come in, can you say, yes, that kid?
3, 4, and 5-year-old, you can usually spot them out if they're walking on their hands more than they are their feet, if they're very agile, not afraid of anything.
I never could learn how to walk on my hands, so I probably should not pursue a gymnast
No,
career.
they're usually the best ones, but those children, like I told you earlier, they have a hard time listening. So you have to encourage them to be a little safer and aware of their surroundings.
You mean they've got ADHD, or it's just that?
Means they think they can cartwheel, they can handstand, they can roll, and so as a teacher you have to help them do that safely. They're at home probably going down the hall and they're not very aware of anything else around them. It means they're great gymnasts, but they need to also be careful gymnasts.
Right. Well, I guess that's the same in any sport. If I'm a great basketball player, I'm not going to listen to the fundamentals that my teammates have to be drilled on, because I've already
That's what they think, right? And you need to teach them proper technique, because we're governed by that USA, and as you just watched the Olympics, how close those scores are, by a toe, by 100th of a tenth, and those little things in the end mean a lot. I've had children that went from first place to 5th place by 2 toes. I've had children that qualified or didn't qualify for nationals by those toes.
Sure.
So you want to encourage them to listen to their coaches, and those little things add up in the end.
Psychologically, how taxing is it to be a gymnast? Like you mentioned, a 1,000th or 100th of a point can mean the difference between champion and non-champion. And are kids able to handle that pressure, or they can do it because they learn that's part of the sport?
Children are very resilient. They know what they're doing. In our gym, we train them to do more numbers correct than you miss, so that when you go to competition, you can put it out there and not have to worry about when your mind frame changes. When you come in every day, it's hard, depending on your age, to come in every day and work out and be physical and do it correctly in a certain way, and that is hard. But they're resilient. They fall, they get up, they try again, try to make it better. You just try to encourage them to mind control the body and to see themselves doing it correct, see themselves making an effort, see what it looks like right, and encourage them to do more of it, you know, so that it's there when they get nervous in front of all those people, or when they get nervous because of some competitor that they haven't seen before. And hopefully they've done all the numbers correct in the gym so that when they perform, it's there for them and it pays off in the end.
As the gymnasts grow, are they, do they get too tall or too muscular and then have to transition out of the sport?
Some of them do. Some of them do. For the girls, it's when they hit puberty and they all of a sudden have new bodies that they have to maneuver on beam or on, and they relearn it. Our biggest thing is that we have children when their bodies start growing or changing, men and women in here, they are great athletes. Most gymnasts are great athletes. So our biggest thing is holding them in one sport, or holding them, because if you spread yourself too thin, then you'll do them all well, but probably not any great.
Now, when you say one sport, you mean one event? Or
no, one sport. So like if you have someone that's really good at gymnastics, usually they are good at, you know, another type of athletic activity, you know, whether it's track or volleyball or anything at their school, softball, cheerleading, anything. And so at some point, there's a certain level where you have to dedicate a certain amount of time in the gym, and I'm sure you do in the other sports as well. So the biggest thing we lose them to is trying to make a decision, because as their body develops, they're also great at a lot of other things.
Is height a disadvantage for some of the gymnastic events, or?
It just depends how early you started, and if you were already long, so to speak, even though you were younger, if you had long legs even for a 7-year-old, or then you're used to them. So as long as you developed it along the way with that same body type, then it shouldn't inhibit you. But if you all of a sudden grow, you know, 2 foot, then of course it is, and it's a relearning curve.
What type of commitment does it take in order to be a successful member of your competitive team? Are you talking 3 or 4 hours classes a week, or you can get by with fewer, or it takes even way more than that?
The recreational classes, like I told you, is an hour, 2 days a week. That's what we encourage everyone to do to successfully progress. The first competitive level comes as little as an hour and a half to 3 hours a week. And the most that the level optional children, they come to higher levels. They come as much as 16 to 20 hours. Depends on during the year whether they're in school.
And how does that contrast to the level of commitment of the gymnasts that we've seen on the Olympics?
They're full-time. They are 35 to 35 or more hours. I've had children that worked out that in my career. But a lot of those children are homeschooled, or they go to school, or they come to gym before school. I had a specific child that came before school, did strength and flexibility or some type of workout, and then she went to school and then came back at 2:30 and finished. But she did that 6 days a week.
And she genuinely loved it. I mean, she had to be doing gymnastics, I guess.
Oh yes, a genuine love for it. But they all know when it's time, when I'm done or when I'm not done, or how far they want to go. And we have the girls all write goals, and we have them communicate to us on a regular basis if anything's changed, so that we can help them accomplish whatever it is. With a program of this size, you know, their goals range from everything to that some of them like doing it because they're with their friends, and that's all they want. They just want to progress well. That's it. But some of them come in, I want to go to college, or I want to do this at the Olympics. I had this last week. I had a child come to me, and she's a 7-year-old turning 8, and she said, "That's me right there. I am Gabby, and I want you to help me get there."
Is 7 or 8 too late, or not?
No, not at all. Not at all. It's fine. She just has a road. I encourage them all to take 1 year at a time. Set your goals yearly, and where it takes us, because like you watch TV, there are no guarantees. We would love to get you ready. But you could fall at that qualifying round, or you could succeed, so you better enjoy the ride. And enjoy what you do every day.
I imagine it builds the confidence of the participants because all of a sudden you're doing neat things.
Oh, yeah.
What are some of the other side effects or benefits that children receive by being involved in gymnastics?
Most gymnasts are not lazy in any form or fashion, of course. They like being active.
Sure.
They are usually bored when we don't have gym. When we have a holiday or a day off, they want to know, can we have open gym?
Sure.
Can we come work out? They are very self-confident, and in cases where they're not coming in that way, after they have a little taste of self-success,
right.
whether it's a skill or a medal in any form or fashion, and we don't teach any of them that medal is winning. I feel like last week when the Olympics, all of the kids, we all sat down and I explained to all of the competitive teams how you get there, how you qualify to the Olympics, and everyone that's there has really already won. Because if you've been your life training for that and you made it there and you're representing our country, whether you fall or not, and we treat every meet we go to like that. We go, and if we come away from there and we did the skill that we've been working on for a month and we've never done it correctly and we did it right that day, whether we came home with a medal or not, we as coaches feel like they've already won. And we try to encourage them to think that way too.
At the risk of angering half the people who are listening to us now, who might be War Eagle fans, University of Alabama has a pretty traditional powerhouse of a gymnastics team.
Absolutely.
How long have they been that way? And are most of their team members from the state of Alabama, or they get folks from Minnesota who come to Tuscaloosa to do gymnastics at Alabama?
Sarah and David would kill me if I didn't name the amount of years they've been there, because they're friends of mine for a long time.
Who are Sarah and David?
Sarah and David Patterson are the coaches there at the University of Alabama, and we have been friends for a long time. And gosh, so I would say 28, 30 years. They've been there a long time. And
national championships they've won.
Yes, yeah. yes. And they are very good at what they do. And their gymnasts are very good, but they are very good at selling their program and being a community involved type program.
Sure.
And I want to say, even though I'm a Alabama so-called fan, we as a whole are gymnastics fans.
Right.
And the new coach at the University of Auburn this last year, we all got on the bus and went and viewed the Alabama-Auburn gymnastics meet, and they were great at helping us get there as a team, coming to watch that program, and they came very close to beating Alabama that night, which would have been super good for them, and I'm sure it's going to be in their future. And Alabama does have kids from all over the country, just like football, basketball, anything. They recruit the best. They, like anything else, every college, especially in the SEC being so strong, they try to recruit the strongest athletes in their sport, no matter where they're from. Of course, they love to have children from the state.
Of course.
And they signed children from our state this last year. We'll see Carly is her name this following year, and she's from Birmingham. And we'll get to see her next year on the Alabama's team.
Excellent. Well, Missy, we're at the part of the show that's called All Up in Your Business.
Okay.
And that's when we stop asking people about the job that they're doing, and we want to know a little bit more about them as a person.
Oh,
so
gosh.
The first question we ask everyone is, were you born and raised in Montgomery? And if not, where were you raised? And also, where did you go to school? And how did you gravitate towards this career?
Oh my goodness, that's a long
one. Are you a Montgomery native?
I am not a Montgomery native. I was born in Rome, New York, believe that. Air Force,
okay.
Dad. And went to high school in Anniston, Alabama, near Oxford, where Rick and Bubba are from.
Never heard of them. I'm just joking. I hear them every month.
And went to school at Jacksonville State. I, through work, through my husband's work, we came here in Montgomery, and I had gravitated towards gymnastics because I happened to be one of those children that started gymnastics at a later age. Loved being in there. I came in, I was a little bit older, and when I say a little older, 10, 11, 12, a little older, and did not necessarily have that non-fear factor. Loved being there.
Right.
But they were trying. I was very good already on floor. They were already trying to talk me into being on this competitive team, and I was also playing softball and cheering and all of those things. So when my choice came, my parents said you need to decide one. I had not had the benefit of coming through the competitive program at a young age, so quickly I decided to not do competitive gymnastics, but I immediately started teaching at a teenager, and I have been doing it ever since, and was much better at instructing than I was at doing. And loved it.
There's probably a lot of us.
And I've raised a lot of children in the years that I've been.
What's the greatest reward of being a gymnastics instructor? Is it to see your proteges go off and do great things, or?
I think it's a combination of everything. You want them to accomplish what they're here to accomplish, but at the same time, developing young adults to appreciate the world and their accomplishments and each other has been a greater in friendships, lifetime friendships. Like I said, I've raised a lot of children, and the relationships we've had along the way, whether it was through collegiate gymnastics or through their first children or through their kind of a gym grandmother now. So, but I've really enjoyed. I really enjoyed just watching them develop as young adults.
And what does the future hold for gymnastics in Montgomery? I know you guys are going to be hosting some pretty big deal competitions.
Yes, the girls behind us they have a competition in the next 2 weeks. And they start their season, and that's how it all starts, all the way up to every level. We are hosting the Alabama State Championships in the new multi-purpose building by Crampton Bowl, and every child in the state on those levels will come here the first week in December, and we're so excited about it, and hopefully that's the start of many competitions. Who knows? We might have a collegiate meet there. We might can host a national meet there. It certainly is a facility equipped for it.
Is there a phone number or a website where people can go to get more information about the gymnastics program here at the Armory?
Yes, we are. This is funny. I'm on the floor all the time, and I can't say I've ever called here, but let's say it's 241-2789. I'm thinking that's it.
Okay, and you know what? If that's not it, we'll tell people to just dial 311.
That's right.
And 311 operators will tell you how to reach.
And we are at the Armory Learning Arts Center, and ArmoryAthletics.com is our website, and it should be up by September 1.
Good deal. Well, Missy, thank you so very much for
I enjoyed meeting you.
Great service to the city.
Thank you for coming.
It's really a crown jewel. We can look at all of the banners here and see all of the accomplishments.
They have had great success here, long time before me.
Even if they don't get to win an Olympic medal, they're winners in our hearts just because they demonstrate a great work ethic and some confidence. And thank you for all that you do for the citizens of Montgomery.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us, everyone. We'll see you next time right here on Inside City Government.
You've been watching Inside City Government with Michael Burdell, a production of the City of Montgomery in cooperation with Troy University. The views expressed in this program may not be the views of the staff of Troy University or the City of Montgomery.